forgive me if you seem like I'm shouting, it's because I didn't really have much time to get a microphone, but it's alright, I've got a loud voice, so it works out. Now, we're in here to talk about a couple of different animals in this tank. We're going to be addressing our stingrays, and of course our zebra shark. You'd be surprised at which one that is, because she's not stripy. So we'll start with the stingrays, of course. Now we've got 3 different types of stingrays in here. We have the blue mat, we have a round stingray, and then we have the blue ribbon tail. The blue ribbon tail and the blue mask actually look very, very, very similar. But to tell the difference between the two, the blue masks have lighter blue spots on them. They're kind of barely visible, so it's one of those you have to really look for. But the ribbon tails, you can see very, very prominent spots. Now, stingrays are infamously known for that really, really dangerous sting. But of course, they really, really don't want to use it. But if anything, they will use it as a last case resort. When it does come to stinging, their bark, which is where the sting is, detaches from the tail and actually ultimately fall off. But they will can grow a new one. Now, when it comes to actually hunting, because stingrays are predators, and they eat a lot of different types of fish, they tend to eat things like crustaceans and mollusks, so smaller type ones. And what they do is they bury themselves in the sand, and then they will ambush and then get their food when their fish feel like any of the little critters come near them and they can just pounce on them. And it can sound weird saying that a sea pancake could be pouncing, but they do a really good job of it, of course. Now, stingrays are exceptionally similar to sharks in loads of different ways, but the big one actually comes down to their skeleton. Because you'd be very surprised to know their skeleton covers the actual circle part, the entirety of the stingray. Now their skeleton is made out of cartilage, which is the same stuff that we have in our ears. So when you then move your ear around, that's the same thing as the entire body of the stingray, which is why they're able to move ever so gracefully and get into those tight nooks and crannies as well. Now, stingrays are really quite cool, as in they are what we call ovoviviparous. This means that they have a brood of eggs inside the womb, but they hatch inside and come out like a live birth. So it's 2 births in one, really. Kind of a double deal, really, for them. You can often find stingray eggs on the beaches as well. When you go into our next room, in one side of the tank you'll be able to see what shark eggs look like, and stingray eggs look exactly the same, which is really cool. If you ever do find those on the beach, always check and see if they've got babies in. If they haven't, take them home. A good little souvenir to have, so we can't go wrong with that one. But the other one that I will mention is getting ready for her feeding time, of course, is our wonderfully big zebra shark Grace. Now, zebra sharks are named for that because of what they look like when they're born. So when they're born, they are the signature black and white striping. And human species as a whole tends to name fish as what they look like. So if you think of a pufferfish, they're named after because of the fact that they puff up. Lionfish because they look like lions, and so on and so forth. So we didn't really see what zebra sharks look like when they grew up, but obviously when they grow, they develop into those lovely spots instead. Now, Grace is a really good one to debunk myths about sharks as a whole, because we are always known to believe that sharks are these big, scary, dangerous predators that are going to attack humans at every given moment. But that is actually the furthest thing from the truth. If you take Grace, for example, she and her species are known to be extremely docile. So if anything, if any of us were to fall into the tank, she'd probably look at us as if we're a funny looking fish and swim away. And she really isn't interested in people for the most part. Now, that actually leads me into the more serious part of zebra sharks as a whole, is that they are an endangered species. Because when people go on these snorkeling and scuba diving holidays, some people will swim with sharks like Grace, because she will not fight back. And because of that, it causes them immeasurable amounts of stress, And then that, in the long run for them, causes them a lot of hardships. So if you ever do go on these snorkeling or scuba diving holidays, always make sure, especially with marine life as a whole, you should never be actively touching or physically interacting with animals in the marine ocean. If they touch you, it's on their terms, not ours, kind of thing. So that's the best way to go about it. Now, to lead into more about, like, obviously why sharks are seen as these big scary things, obviously in a lot of media they're used in a lot of movies that show them they're doing all these dramatic fights and everything. But yearly, we'll have about 12 shark bites a year, and that's it. Whereas if you go the other way, you will lose about 10,000 sharks plus a week to humans, which the odds are really not in their favour in the slightest. And to reassure you even more, sharks do not want to eat humans. They cannot stand the taste of people. We are gross to them. I mean, I don't blame them, but obviously they would much prefer a pescatarian-based diet in that regard anyway. Now, before I end this talk, I want to address a couple of other fish that are very big, popular fan favourites in here. They're both actually up at the window as we speak. One of which is in this corner here, and he's swimming back round and he's getting ready to come up to the side. Now, he looks like a pufferfish, but he's a box fish. He does kind of look like a box. We've lovingly called it cheese, because he does kind of look like a box of cheese. Whereas the actual pufferfish in here, which has gone towards the right-hand side, now he's called Hector. And if you do get to see him up close, which I do recommend, he does look like he's smiling at you. He really does love a bit of human interaction. So whenever I say that some fish, like, obviously have personalities, those two are the best representation for it. Now that's going to be it from me yammering on, but obviously we've still got some feeding going on, so you'll be able to see these guys getting fed their nice luncheon. And then after feeding has been done, and we've got the all clear, you will be able to come up here. Well, that's only when our accuracy finished up and got them all their daily food. But if you've got any questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask myself or any of the colleagues that are in here, because we will do our absolute best to answer. If not, and you would like to check out our next animal talk, it's at 1:30 at Penguin Bay, where there will be a penguin feed happening, and you'll be able to see the penguins getting fed, which is always such a treat. If not, then I sincerely hope you all have an amazing day at Chessington today. So thank you all so much.